Welcome back to our Campaign 10 Candidate Forum. I'm Roger Cornish. Let's continue with a question that most of them asked by viewers. The following came in regarding health care. It goes to Mr. Little, first of all. Is health care or a portion of health care a right or a privilege? And secondly, how would you improve the cost of health care? And the first rebuttal, Congressman Jerry Moran.
Well, no, the health care bill passed by Congress is a disaster. It's a disaster for Kansas and access to health care, hospitals and doctors. And I don't think it's a right. The understated consequence of this bill is we'll have fewer hospital doors open, fewer physicians in our communities, and what we need to pursue is defensive medicine, selling insurance across state lines, providing no benefits for those people who are here illegally, promotion of wellness, fitness, diet, and nutrition, and improvement in our medical records. A lot of things can be done, none in this bill.
Thank you, Congressman. A final rebuttal on the health care issue, Congressman Todd Tiahrt.
Well, I've read the Constitution, and health care is nowhere to be found in it. I do consider it a privilege, but we do need to do something to lower the cost. I believe returning health care to the private sector will help us return to a more economically, more market-based healthcare system. I contributed to and supported a bill called H.R. 3400 that was measured, and it would have reduced healthcare costs by 10% for all Americans. That's what we should be doing, bringing the free market back into healthcare.
Thank you, Congressman. Our next question regards a hot-button immigration. How do you stand on illegal immigration? And what is your opinion on Arizona's new law, which is about to take effect at the end of this month? We turn first of all to Congressman Jerry Moran.
I'm very supportive of the governor and the legislature in Arizona in their attempt to enforce the law. And I think that's what this issue is about. Americans, Kansans, are very interested in immigration because they see the unfairness in having a system that allows people who are illegal to get ahead of the line. I oppose amnesty. Unlike Congressman Tiahrt, I never sponsored the DREAM Act. On 2 occasions, Congressman Tiahrt supported the DREAM Act, which provided for the folks who are here illegally to have education benefits, and has argued on behalf of those who are here legally to have driver's licenses. So this is an issue in which he and I disagree strongly. No amnesty. You can't benefit those people who have violated the law.
Thank you, Congressman. And the topic is immigration, illegal immigration. Congressman Todd Tiahrt.
Well, it's very important that we have no amnesty in America, that we build the fence. I've been very disappointed when Congressman Moran voted against building the fence, when he voted for amnesty, when he voted for bilingual ballots, that means in English and in Spanish, and when he voted just last year to remove the citizenship requirement to receive health care benefits, and then he raised our taxes to pay for it. So I think I've got a very strong record in making sure that we can solve the problem by first building the fence.
Thank you. And we go now to our last rebuttal on this issue to Tom Little. Mr. Little, there's been a lot of talk for a long time now about the Air Force tanker deal and how if Boeing gets the contract, it would create jobs in Wichita and Kansas. The question is, how do you balance issues that may be good for Kansas versus issues that could benefit the country overall? Congressman Tiahrt, you get the first answer on this.
Well, as you know, I've fought very hard to make sure that we have a level playing field, because I believe our more productive, our better workers, I believe our American workers can win a competitive bid if they're given this level field. I think it's very disturbing to see our Pentagon try to outsource our national security. I have fought against that, and I was very disappointed when Congressman Moran voted against a program right here in Wichita that now ends up being outsourced to Brazil. When he voted against the AT-6B program. So we have got to make sure that we don't outsource our national security. And for us to give highly classified data to the French is wrong. I want an American tanker made by American workers at an American company.
All right, thank you, Congressman. Our first rebuttal, 25 seconds, comes from Tom Little.
Tiahrt, David.
Thank you, Mr. Little. And the final rebuttal comes from Congressman.
What Congressman Tiahrt talks about when he says I voted against things is my opposition to earmarks, and he suggests that that's all about jobs in Kansas. But Congressman Tiahrt is the one who voted for the earmark offered on the House floor to take it out. It was a Pelosi earmark for a pier in San Francisco. Congressman Tiahrt votes yes, I vote no. That's not jobs in Kansas. And the premise of this question, I think, is false. What's good for Wichita in this case is good for the country. That contract needs to level playing field, and the Boeing company and its employees need the opportunity to compete on that level playing
Congressman.
field.
The country is fighting 2 wars right now in Iraq and in Afghanistan. The question is, with those 2 wars going on and the trillions of dollars being spent, are we safer now than we were? Mr. Little gets the first answer. And the first rebuttal comes from Congressman Moran.
In this case, I disagree. I believe strongly that the decision was made to conduct a war in Iraq and Afghanistan for purposes of national security, protecting American lives, and now is not the time to walk away from that battle. I've seen too many families in Kansas sacrifice, and this is a battle we have to win, especially with Pakistan as a neighbor to Afghanistan with nuclear capabilities. So we made the decision. We need to do everything we can to support our troops and see success.
Thank you. And the final rebuttal on the issue of the wars we're fighting, Representative Todd Tiahrt.
We need to take the fight to the terrorists. If we don't, they'll be back here in America. We've already known that's historically a fact. But when they're over there, we need to give them the best tools available. That's why I was very disappointed when Congressman Moran voted against new body armor made right here in Kansas for our troops. We got to keep them safe when they're over there. You know, Jerry Moran acts like he's the only one, or I'm the only one that gives earmarks in Kansas. He had supported and asked for $250 million worth of earmarks last year.
Time is up. We now turn to a kind of a simple question. Each of you, we would like you to tell us one thing we don't know about you that's not been addressed during this campaign or in your political ads. We start with Congressman Moran.
That is an unusual question, and I guess what I would tell people is that I am someone who takes my job very seriously. I think we've had so much back and forth with Congressman Tiahrt, and from my perspective, when the polls came out showing significant leads, the negative advertising began. And the reality is that Kansans have elected me, the most Republican district in our state, for 7 terms. And if the things that Congressman Tiahrt suggests are true, and they're not, Kansans would not have made those decisions, re-electing me on 6 occasions. I love this state and want to make certain that we make the right decisions for our state and its future.
All right, thank you, Congressman. Up next, Todd Tiahrt.
Well, one thing that Jerry Moran thinks that I don't do is live here in Kansas, but I just paid my electric bill, and I asked, how long have I been paying my electric bill at this location? She said, since July 10th, 1981. I've lived in my house longer than Congressman Moran has lived in his. But what really disturbs me is the way that Congressman Moran went negative early on by sending out bad mailers, and now he says I'm slimy, and I think that's a personal attack. It's character assassination, and I think it should stop.
All right, thank you. Mr. Little, your turn now. Thank you very much. Thanks to all 3 of you. That's the end of our question and answer session. When we come back, the candidates for U.S. Senate will give us their closing statement. Stay with us.